Good morning. What day is it? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. This is your Property News Live.
Hi, I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel.
Good morning everyone. This is your Property News Live. We're live on Instagram, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at Insta, and of course we're live on Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn, as we are always. This is your Property News Live, so if you're here for the first time, I'm here at 8:30 every weekday just to share the breaking property news. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, obviously the noise on the street and the banter at the moment is all about the updates on the budget. Now, I know that there's a lot of chatter about there. So, of course, today is going to be very budget focused. So we need to be looking at what the elements are going to affect us as property investors. But first of all, I'd love to get your opinions. What is your opinion on the budget? Do you think it was a good budget or a bad budget? Just type in good or bad. Let me know what your thoughts are. And of course, like always, we do the shout outs. So tell me where you're watching from and tell me your name so we can do the shout outs. Now, I want to know what your thoughts are on the budget. So let's do the shout outs first, then we'll have the emphasis and we'll come back onto the budget notes this morning. So we've got Mandy watching from Manchester. Good morning, Mandy. Paz, good morning from Brighton. And good morning to Patrick from Market Deeping. Susan, good morning from Cambridge. And Raj, good morning from Ashford in Surrey. Anthea, good morning from Stevenage. Good morning to Yemi from Essex, and Maria watching on YouTube from London. Good morning to Paul watching from, doesn't say. Good morning Adaru watching from Wiltshire, and to Alex watching from Worcester. Good morning to Russell from Sheffield. I can only do a couple more folks. And to Michelle from Wandsworth. And let's just pick one at random. Gordon, good morning. I don't want to do just shout outs, okay? Everyone that's watching on Instagram, good morning Annie. Good morning to Sean Boy and Lorraine. Good morning from Insta. Lorraine's on Insta today. Addison, good morning. And Matt and Eeyore and JG Physique is here. Good morning. All right, so what's your opinion on the budget? Good or bad? A couple of people have said good. Let's have a look so if you're watching on Facebook now, what is your opinion on yesterday's budget? Mandy's saying good, Gordon's saying good, Patrick's saying balanced. Okay, let's have a look to see what the general consensus is. Budget. So let's just do a brief synopsis of what happened yesterday in the budget. So for those who missed yesterday's announcements, the stamp duty holiday on properties up to £500,000 will be extended from March the 31st to June the 30th. And then from July the 1st, the holiday will apply only on properties up to £250,000 until the end of September. It will not be until October the 1st that the pre-COVID stamp duty thresholds and levels will resume. However, for purchases from the start of July until the end of September, the maximum stamp duty land tax saving will be just £2,500, sizably less than the £15,000 saving possible under the current holiday, which continues until the end of June. So, far less details have been released on whether these dates will end with the hated cliff edge or will be tapered to avoid a last-minute disappointment from some buyers. Landlords who have incorporated need to note that corporation tax is to soar from 19% to 25% from April 2023. There will be changes to how it is applied though, especially for smaller companies, but this is likely to affect the trend towards buy-to-let incorporation. Now, don't forget, folks, that this is it's going to go up to 25% for businesses that are making profits of £250,000 or more. If you're making profit of £50,000 or less, then you stay at 19%. There was no announcement at all on capital gains tax. That's a little bit scary, but we kind of expected that. We did say yesterday that we expect to see that perhaps a little bit later in the year. But this is likely to be the subject of radical proposals to be announced, but only at consultation stage. On March the 23rd, Sunak has also confirmed that there will be government guaranteed 95% mortgage loans available for buyers from next month and on the purchase of properties up to the value of £600,000. However, this is thought not to apply to investment purchases. Other measures announced by Sunak were: furlough is to be extended until the end of September with higher employer contributions from July. 600,000 more self-employed people will be eligible for help as access to grants will be broadened. £20 in uplift and universal credit to be extended for another 6 months. Minimum wage to increase to £8.91 an hour from April. No changes to rates of income tax, national insurance or VAT, but thresholds to be frozen, meaning long-term stealth tax. Personal income tax allowance to be frozen at £12,570 from 2022 to 2026. Higher rate income tax thresholds to be frozen, just done that one. Corporation tax on company profits to go up from 19 to 25%, we've done that one. Apprenticeship grants to rise up to £3,000. VAT reduced for hospitality firms to be maintained at 5% until September. Interim 12.5% VAT to apply to hospitality thereafter to the hospitality sector for the following 6 months. No rise in this year's fuel or alcohol duties. Business rates holiday for firms in England will continue from April until June. Reopening grants for non-essential businesses of up to £6,000 for most premises and £18,000 in exceptional circumstances. Another £400 million to help arts venues in England to reopen, and £300 million for professional sports and £25 million for grassroots football. In addition, £19 million for domestic violence programmes and £40 million for thalidomide victims. If you have any questions about the budget, then type them in. Let's see if we can cover them in the next 10 minutes. All right, let's have a look at some questions. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a good budget? Andrew saying, is the answer to have 10 companies all doing under the threshold? It's a suggestion. That will be on the 23rd of March announcement. Sure, we'll get capital gains tax increase. Peter saying, I think the budget was good, though not happy with the increased corporation tax, but that was expected. Hey, what happened? Where's Julie? Is Julie here today? What happened to all of the noise around the loans that we were expected to get to help tenants pay off their arrears? Now, Wales have done this and Scotland have done this. We thought perhaps we would follow suit, but nothing. We've not heard anything at all on how we can do that. I've got a report coming out in a second, but hey ho. Peter, yeah, I've got that one. Rishi is a clever bloke, according to Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Gossier saying the budget is good. Yemi saying the budget is good. Paz saying mixed feelings about the budget. Andrew saying the budget was excellent. Alfie saying it's deceptive. Can you elaborate, Alfie, for me? That'd be awesome. Matt saying good morning. Gordon saying good morning. So lots of people still saying good morning. What do you think of the budget, folks? That's the topic today. Is it a good budget? Is it a bad budget? Is it underhanded? What do you think? Would you like to have seen a little bit more as investors in terms of what we get, or nothing, as the case may be? Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, if you are new here, please click the like button. Please click on the share button. Let's try and share this feed today and get ourselves out there as much as possible. Don't forget to follow the page, okay? So obviously we're in the theme of the budget. The next element here has come from the NRLA, and the budget apparently has received short shrift from landlords and tenants, as Chancellor Rishi Sunak appeared to miss out the private rental sector for financial support. Doesn't he always? Ben Beadle, Chief Executive of the NRLA, said that the Chancellor's pledge to do whatever it takes to support those affected by the pandemic will ring hollow for thousands of tenants and landlords across the country. The government has admitted that private tenants have been hardest hit by the pandemic, and figures show that most of these in arrears are unable to access emergency housing support from local authorities. Despite this, the Chancellor has failed to provide the sector with the financial support needed to pay off rent debts built as a consequence to the virus. Without help to get tenants' arrears cleared, many tenants face the prospect of losing their homes and having damaged credit scores, which will undermine the government's efforts to help Generation Rent become Generation Buy. An agents trade body, ARLA Property Mark, is also angry. Timothy Douglas, Policy and Campaigns Manager, said extending the increase to the Universal Credit Standard Allowance and the furlough scheme until September will help tenants plan ahead, but much more is required to avoid a mounting crisis in the private rental sector. As the impact of COVID continues to bite and unemployment rates continue to rise, we are increasingly concerned about how tenants will avoid future rent arrears and landlords will remain incentivized to stay in the rental market. What's your thoughts? Let's go to questions. Jay, good morning. Inflation will eat any savings we will make from salaries with the freeze of tax allowance. Thank you, Jay. Andrew saying fair point made by Ben, the NRLA. Fair point. It is a fair point. Now, I think it was a good budget, personally. Depends on which side of the fence you're on. You're never going to get it 100% right. However, landlords again on the fence. You know, we've been left out in the cold again, I believe. Sammy, I'm sure there will be a bad surprise in future budgets. The good thing, I think, Sammy, is that it's not politically motivated this time. They're not looking to win votes, are they? So at the moment, it should be a budget for the people, which is really what they've said it is. And let's see what comes from the back of this. We haven't seen anything with capital gains tax yet. Is that going to be the bite? Is that going to be the element that sort of like sways us and changes our mind? Tracy saying, good morning. Let's have a look. Maria saying, I think the budget was good. Gordon saying, gives the little guy a leg up. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about Rishi? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Andrew again saying, we need some talk from the left. What have Labour said? Did you watch Keir Starmer's response? Did you watch it? I love it. It's awesome. Glyn saying, like they said, let's turn Generation Rent into Generation Buy. I think they want to keep tenants and landlords in the dark. Let's see what happens. Okay, what's next? A second attempt by Labour, Andrew, to halt in-person property viewings during the pandemic has been battered away by the government. Labour's Shadow Secretary for Housing, Communities and Local Government, Thangan Debonair, tabled a written question to Housing Minister Chris Pincher, and Debonair's question was to ask the Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government if he will make an assessment of the potential merits of prohibiting in-person viewings of property for rent during the COVID-19 lockdown announced in January 2021. Pincher dismissed the claim, writing in response, we have worked with industry and public health authorities to ensure home moves can take place as safely as possible during this period. It's important that people who need to move can do so, and home viewings are an essential part of the home moving process. Where viewings are taking place in rented properties, tenants' safety should be the priority of letting agents and landlords, and our published guidance advises that initial viewing should take place remotely where possible, and only those seriously interested in the property should view in person. Where in-person viewings occur, we advise that the current occupiers vacate the property in order to minimise unnecessary contact. Property agents and landlords should make sure viewers and occupants of the home understand how they should conduct themselves to protect their health and safety of others. Next, back into the budget. No news is good news. That's what they say. And the absence of any announcement by Rishi Sunak about capital gains tax in the budget was actually welcomed by landlords and letting agents in the industry. Angus Stewart, the chief executive of buy-to-let mortgage broker Property Master, said the budget looks to be very good news indeed. Even the increase in corporation tax will pass most landlords by, as it only kicks in for companies making profits above £50,000. Stewart continued to say the full extension of the stamp duty cut until the end of June was at the upper end of what landlords were hoping for, given the length of time it was taking to clear the unusual purchase hurdles in time to complete by March the 31st. But the Chancellor went beyond that, and by continuing to exempt purchases up to £250,000 from stamp duty, he will give a boost to confidence and encourage landlords to continue to invest. What are your thoughts, folks? Let me know what you think. Insta, you're quiet. Type in what you think. We've got 5 minutes before I move over to Clubhouse. Tell me what your thoughts are on Instagram, please. Susan, I agree with the NRLA. Let me say that again. Not the NERLA. I agree with the NRLA. It's harder to say now. It's the NRLA, isn't it? Not the RLA. I agree with the NRLA. Not impressed. I also haven't seen any reference to the Green Homes grant scheme, which has been a shambles. Susan, I did a report on that a couple of days ago when there was actually talk of that being scrapped. Is that going to happen or not? It's gone quiet at the moment because I think the budget has just sort of overshadowed everything, but I'm not sure. Andrew, we need some talk from the left. You said that earlier. I don't think I've got any lefty talk this morning. I want to keep this focused on actually what happened rather than what Keir Starmer thinks should have happened. Is that a fair point? I think so. All right, last today. It's not budget related, but it is quite current. Demand for student accommodation is greater now than ever, according to a specialist online platform. And this is despite high supply of new purpose-built flats for students and uncertainty over foreign academic study because of Brexit. Uni homes say that the overall student population in the UK has increased by 9% in the past 5 years, with nearly 200,000 more heading to higher education. In 2015, university students accounted for 3.6% of the total UK population. That's amazing. That's huge. But this has climbed consistently year on year, with them now making up to 3.8%. Property consultancy Cushman & Wakefield, quoted by Uni Homes, says that the level of student-specific accommodation reaching the market has climbed at an average of 5.2% since 2015. New purpose-built student accommodation totals 660,000 homes in total, but even so, many students still require private rented accommodation. While this demand has risen, supply has dropped, according to the platform. Stock levels in England have dropped by an annual average of 0.2%. And that's over the last 5 years. And today there are 107,000 less rental homes across the UK market when compared to the peak of 4.8 million rental properties in 2016. Unihome's co-founder says that while the provision of student-specific accommodation has increased, a reduction in the private rental stock is worrying, and it's a trend that could cause rental affordability issues. And rental affordability is already an issue for many at university, and the cost of renting is the largest outgoing that many students struggle to cover. Should stock levels continue to decline while demand increases, the cost of renting is likely to climb higher. What are your thoughts on that, folks? Right, so I've got a couple of people on Insta. Darren, does this account for the foreign students that aren't coming to the UK currently? I don't think it does at the moment, Darren, but I did a report on that last week. Hong Kongers specifically are, they've got a massive appetite of coming over to the country at the moment and buying or indeed coming over to rent as well, because of the elements with the visas, etc., that they are issuing at the moment. Who else have we got on Insta? Safe is saying I would have liked to heard about the 2% surcharge to overseas buyers. No, didn't get anything, did we? It was quiet on that. That's going to unfold. I suspect a lot of the things we haven't heard about are going to come out towards the weekend, ready for the press to start reporting on. Let's see what happens. Any more questions on Facebook? Sammy, before the budget talks, Labour wanted property tax to be entertained. No need for it, as council tax will do so. Thank you. Gordon saying, how will this affect property prices? You know, this is a really good question, Gordon, isn't it? How will it affect property prices? Had a conversation in the Clubhouse room this morning, and obviously, you know, opposing views, because we don't know, do we? We don't have a crystal ball. I honestly think at the moment, because of the stamp duty land tax extension, we are going to see property prices pretty much where they are now. And whilst the government continue to pour money into the economy and they continue to give incentives to investors, etc., I don't think prices are going to come down. Now, when this stops, we get to a gold rush, don't we? And people know there's going to be a gold rush. We've seen this in the first quarter of this year because we thought that the stamp duty land tax was going to end on the 31st of March. So all of a sudden, there's a massive pent-up demand and prices go up accordingly. But there's also the argument of how much are they saving, because the prices are falsely inflated. And then, of course, you know, the savings, is there going to be any saving indeed because of that element? So that's another ask. But I think whilst the government are pouring money in and extending the incentives, prices will continue to probably creep up. Now, when they pull that and they pull the rug, then of course people will be less incentivized to buy, and then of course prices will start then to peter. And those are my opinions, and that's all they are. I'm not necessarily right. Let's see what happens. I mean, the government have done a very good job of propping up the economy, but the more money we print, then of course inflation is the other aspect, you know, because that happens, it comes hand in hand. Those are my thoughts. Glyn saying, I'm happy to rent some student HMOs in Derby, Nottingham or Manchester, or of people, if anyone is worried. Thank you, Glyn. Little pitch there from Glyn. Well done. Steve saying good morning from Teignmouth. Sammy, before the budget talks, Labour, yeah, done that one as well. So those are my thoughts, folks. Thank you for watching. Had a good number of people on today. If you do like what we've done here, can you give me a like? Can you give me a like, folks? Click on that little like button. Why? Because Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram love it if you click on the like button, because then that will help with the algorithms. It just means that more people can watch the show. I'm here just to share the news with you and just to bring out the news and to debate it and bring it to life a little bit more. And that's my incentive. So thank you all so much for following me. Thank you on Insta. It's a new thing on Insta. If you see me looking down, because I'm looking at my phone for Insta, looking up towards my camera for YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So I want to say thank you for following me. I do appreciate it. And much of what we do here, you know, I'm sharing the news from several different sources. A lot of it is opinion-based. Some of it is statistical-based. It just depends on which article you read. And I know that we all have our own opinions. We all have our own way. We all have our own thoughts. At the end of the day, we don't know until it happens. So I hope that's useful. Thank you also for following me. I'm going to go over to Clubhouse now. Going to continue this in Clubhouse. So if you don't follow me in Clubhouse, come over. My handle on Clubhouse is @RickGannon, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, everybody, don't forget, no matter what you do today, have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Don't be late.
Hi, I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel.